My name is Jeppe. I am 23 years old and I come from Denmark. I used to live in Copenhagen, but now I've been here for 4.5 months.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm from the UK. Grew up in London, sort of moved to the countryside a little further out. I'm 21.
Brexit for me is the UK leaving, maybe not the UK, maybe just England, leaving the European Union. And I guess they have their reasons, but that's like the base of it, from what I understand.
Honestly, it's a shambles. Like, no one knows what's going on. I think that's one of the issues, is that it's quite difficult to define it. I know, I guess it's, yeah, apparently the people of Britain voted that they wanted to leave, but I wasn't one of them, so it's not my vote. But. So there was this quote of this massive amount of money, apparently, that the UK put into the European Union and wasn't getting back, that was misquoted. It was sort of just the statistics were manipulated. I guess part of it is that sort of sentiment of all those old British guys going, I want my country back, you know, and like, it's stupid, I guess. I mean, one of the arguments was that we didn't have a vote for entering the European Union. Like, we never got a choice, we just got put straight in. And so I think part of the reason for having the vote was just to give people a choice. But in all honesty, I don't. It really wasn't clear. I think part of it was that David Cameron was on the Remain side, and because so many people hated him, they assumed that remaining was the bad thing and that leaving was the good thing. Yeah, because he's the bad leader and all that. So yeah, that also played a part.
It's going to have more impact than you just think right now. I think in 5 years we will start to see the actual consequences of Brexit, and I think it means a lot that someone actually leaves the European Union, because in 5 years we will look back, and if people have the same kind of problems with the Union, then maybe you'll be more inclined to vote to leave the Union because you've seen others do it. And if it's a success for the UK, then I'm a bit afraid that it will create an unstable European Union. Things like freedom of movement and like labor, I think that's for me that's the very basic foundation of the EU. And if people start to back out of that, I think it will be a problem eventually. I think we will face unnecessary bureaucracy if you have to apply for visas. Just for me to go from Denmark to Amsterdam was so easy, and if that had been more, if I had to struggle more to do that, then I think I would be less inclined to go for a program like this and go on an exchange inside of Europe, because it would be the same for me to go to the US then, because I would have to apply for visas for everything in the US, and I'd have to do that to move 600 kilometers.
Yeah, I think it's going to make that much more difficult for English people who want to live in Europe. That's going to be tricky, and if you want to go and travel around, you're going to have to get loads of visas and what have you. And yeah, on the other side, it's going to be harder for European people to come to the UK. But I think more than anything, it's adding fuel to that sort of the way that politics seems to be going at the moment. Everyone wants to distance themselves from other nations and other cultures, and I don't like that. So I think it could lead to a more closed-minded society, but I'm hopeful.
I think it's very important. I mean, you can only know so much within your own culture, and it's the same in Copenhagen. We always applaud if people come from outside Denmark to study and to do research in Denmark, because you get so many different ways of doing stuff, and even though academic research and methods are kind of streamlined, then you still get to learn something new every day, especially with people coming from outside your own culture and outside your own university.
For the people actually travelling away from wherever they've been, it's going to open their minds up, undoubtedly. Moving anywhere, even within your own country, you're going to get different kind of bits of culture, different experiences, and generally I think that's 99% of the time that's a positive thing. And obviously it's also really good for the students who aren't moving away, but they're getting other students moving into their cities or whatever. Furthermore, I think it helps it makes the European Union stronger, I think. because it opens up more doors for people to consider working abroad and contributing to another country's economy.
My personal opinion on it would be that they would have to kind of be more aware of how they regulate things. So it's kind of, if you have like an extra institution or body like that governs your government, then it might feel like, even though you go to vote and like you have elections for like presidents or prime ministers or whatever you have around the world, then in the EU, then if you feel like that vote doesn't matter anymore because EU is the actual governing body, then I think it's going to be, I think we're going to see more people leaving, like more nations leaving the EU. So I think they should maybe take those consequences into consideration when they decide what to do in the next few years, and maybe go back to more of the fundamental EU values, which were like full freedoms and like that kind of stuff. I think is very important.
More communication, something needs to be had, and simpler communication. I feel like a lot of these politicians, they purposefully frame things in a way that makes them sound more complicated than they are, and make it harder for the populace to actually understand how the system that they work, how the system they live in works. And like in the UK, it's you go out and the purpose of that night is drinking or doing whatever you want to do. Whereas here, I feel like people, they just want to have a good time. It's not about getting messed up. So I like that, and just being able to be in the international community is really fantastic, and just getting such a diverse amount of culture and some new experiences, new people. So
it's so important that you can go out and have an experience of a lifetime, and making it easier for students like all of us, everybody here, I think is monumental for the development of academia and for universities all over Europe.